Alright, guys, I am... Let me fix my hair, guys. Okay. I am gonna switch it up a little bit on my videos. I'm gonna have to get my favorite babies because it seems like they escaped from me. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Alright, so okay, let's do top 10 times religious leaders got arrested. Let's do it then.
Who described himself as a self-help guru, was sentenced in a federal court in Brooklyn to 120 years behind bars. For this list, we're ranking the most high-profile instances where accusations of illegal behavior resulted in criminal charges against religious leaders. If you think of any we missed, let us know in the comments. Number 10, Warren Jeffs. Polygamy is still practiced within a number of Mormon denominations, including the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This is the hidden world of the FLDS, one of the largest polygamous groups in the United States, and the kingdom of their leader, now jailed Warren Jeffs. However,
oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that happened.
Which is the reason former FLDS President Warren Jeffs was arrested back in 2006. Before being caught, he'd arranged
how old I was.
for parishioners, leading Arizona and Utah to issue warrants for his arrest. Jeffs went
I want to be 16 years old that happened.
Just a little boy in a jail cell, but no one could make any trouble like that.
He was convicted of sexual assault and aggravated sexual assault, referencing the relationships he had with his spouses. He is currently serving a life sentence, plus an additional 20 years.
Jeffs once ruled the Colorado City, Arizona area, but not anymore.
That's a lot of wives he had.
The Amish lifestyle by nature is generally one of conservative simplicity. But what happens when a community...
I love Amish people. I'm not against them.
Enter the Burgles community, an Amish group led by one Samuel Mullet, who wielded his power so strictly that he drove out and excommunicated 9 families.
In September, Sam Mullet, leader of the isolated Bear Cove settlement, was convicted along with his followers on felony charges.
In 2012, Mullet was convicted of federal hate crime and conspiracy charges after spearheading a beard-cutting campaign committed by his loyalists.
Mullet got 15 years in prison after 14 of his followers were convicted of cutting the hair and beards, religious symbols for many Amish.
This is a huge offense in Amish culture. Since
I thought Amish don't not allow cut the, you know, shade the beard or the hair because that's their...
I believe Sam Mullet is put away for a long time, that it'll take care of the problem.
Number 8. Rock Terrio.
It's the legend I heard, and then us women, we can't, like Amish women, we cannot like allow shave or nothing like that. Yeah. Could imagine you be Amish, you can't do nothing. That gonna be sucks.
What he built around us is it's the worst jail that would ever exist because we don't see the bars.
He would make cult members punish each other and even themselves in brutally sadistic ways. In 1984, the commune relocated to Ontario. Only in 1989 was Terrio arrested and charged with assault. This also led to murder charges and a life sentence. He never ended up finishing this sentence, however, as he was killed by a fellow inmate in 2011.
He told me that he was a godly man who had chosen a different way of life.
The bipartisan infrastructure bill is a once-in-a-generation investment in America that replaces lead pipes so families
He
have clean
adds.
drinking water. For Joe Biden, it's about building a stronger economy and a stronger country.
Number 7. Sun Myung Moon. Remember the Moonies? From the 1970s onward, that was the popular name for members of the Family Federation for World Peace derived from the name of their leader, Sun Myung Moon.
Reverend Moon's central vision to unify the world.
These days, Moonies is less used, but the group is still around. Moon claimed he was the second coming of Christ and became infamous for conducting mass
That's how they get married
He
down.
was actually arrested twice. The first time in 1947 by North Korea on spying charges,
South
and
Korea,
in
huh?
1982 by the United States for tax evasion. The leader
See.
did serve time for both arrests, serving 3 years hard labor in North Korea and 13 months in a low-security Connecticut prison, after which he was released for good behavior.
Even though Reverend Moon died 2 years ago, there's still an empty chair. And most people here believe he's the Messiah.
Number 6. L. Ron Hubbard. This isn't
And see,
quite
US,
as
we
obvious,
get
as the
married
founder
any
of
kind of
Scientology
places.
wasn't successfully taken into custody, but the charges, trial, and the man himself are notable enough that we had to squeeze it in.
To really know life, you've got to be part of life.
L. Ron Hubbard wore a lot of hats during his life, including as a science fiction author, which birthed Dianetics and eventually Scientology. The controversial religion has been relegated as a cult in France since 1995, but Hubbard was actually tried and convicted in absentia for fraud back in 1978, along with an associate who ran the French branch of Scientology.
The target of media scrutiny and under investigation by tax authorities, Scientology's founder evaded growing hostility against him by purchasing a yacht and taking to sea.
Hubbard was sentenced to 4 years in prison and fined 35,000 francs, but he never returned to France to pay the fine or serve the time.
I am studying ancient civilizations, trying to find what happened to them, finding out why they went.
Number 5. Jim Baker. Televangelists still make headlines today, but they were primarily visible during the 1980s, especially our next entry, Jim Baker. The empire Baker ran with his wife Tammy Faye was, at one point, so expansive that the couple even managed a Christian theme park together.
This shows the location where we are right now. We're actually sitting right here.
However, Heritage USA was only part of the Baker story. In the late 80s, his former secretary accused him of sexual assault, and Baker faced indictments for fraud.
It's been devastating to us, what we've been going through, and if I could just give you one scripture to kind of set the stage.
Tried for the latter. Baker was initially sentenced to 45 years, but that was reduced to 8 years in 1992. Today, the man who financially defrauded so many of his flock is free, remarried, and back on the air with a new television show.
Zeitgeist 2025. You want to tell us what that means?
Number 4. Keith Raniere.
Raniere could face life in prison when he's sentenced on Tuesday.
You probably heard of Keith Raniere and NXIVM, especially thanks to the involvement of celebrities like Smallville actress Allison Mack. In 1998, Keith Raniere founded the cult NXIVM as a sort of personal development pyramid scheme. But while Raniere was giving seminars about self-improvement, he was systematically manipulating and abusing women with the help of recruiters like Mac. Known as Vanguard to his followers, was a con man and a predator who exploited women. The cult included a secret society of women who were branded and referred to as slaves. Raniere got away with it until his arrest in 2018. The following year, he was convicted of sex trafficking and conspiracy and sentenced to 120 years behind bars.
Keith Raniere will not be able to victimize people anymore after today's sentence.
Number 3, Fred Phelps.
God put it in your wicked heart to start that war.
The Westboro Baptist Church is infamous for its anti-gay vitriol and protests at funerals. Its founder, Fred Phelps, actually started out as a civil rights lawyer, even winning awards from the NAACP for his work with African American clients. Phelps was an attorney who started out handling civil rights cases in the Midwest before he was disbarred. In the late 70s, however, Phelps was disbarred in the wake of cruel, unprofessional behavior in court against a female court reporter, whom he accused of sexual promiscuity and perversion. His behavior and obsession only got worse from there. He was eventually convicted of disorderly conduct for verbal harassment in 1994 and handed 2
Said they got for dead soldiers.
but avoided doing any time. He continued to protest at funerals until his death in 2014. The church said in a statement today that the worldwide media was gleefully anticipating the death of Phelps.
You can't say that. You can't say that for other people like that.
Number 2, Shoko Asahara. Om Shinrikyo has been labeled many things since its inception in 1984, from religion to doomsday cult to terrorist organization. It was founded by Shoko Asahara, who had already been convicted in 1981 on illegal drug charges and for practicing pharmacy without a license.
Asahara's critics dismiss him as a devious fraud.
He eventually declared that he was Christ, predicted an apocalyptic Third World War, and began to commit terrorist attacks aimed at hindering legal action against him and maybe triggering the apocalypse along the way. In March 1995, he organized a sarin gas attack that killed
I was a
13
baby
and
that
7,000
happened.
more on a crowded Tokyo subway.
That shock was intensified when it was established that the attack was carried out not by hardened terrorists, but by a religious group.
A long trial and series of appeals followed before Asahara was finally convicted. He and 6 other Om Shinrikyo members were hanged in 2018. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some dishonorable mentions. Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh, convicted of sexual assault and murder.
You are the losers! You are the losers!
Kent Hoban, also known as Dr. Dino. This Christian fundamentalist was convicted of tax fraud and domestic violence.
Why would there be gravel layers? It's gravel, sand, clay.
Yahweh Ben Yahweh, convicted for conspiracy to commit murder.
Self-proclaimed Son of God was arrested on Wednesday, charged with racketeering.
Barry Minkow, from a Ponzi scheme to fraud.
Minkow was once the senior pastor here at Community Bible Church in Mira Mesa and was trusted by many parishioners.
Guy Desnoyers. This Catholic priest killed his mistress and child before confessing. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Charles Manson.
My favorite
The
serial killer.
Manson family has become
Don't
synonymous
judge.
with the death of the 60s ideal, a horrifying coda for the summer of love.
It was the summer of love, climate ripe for Manson to assemble his group of adoring followers, soon to be called the Manson family.
Charles Manson's cult may have started out with sex, drugs, and free love, but under his manipulative and insidious leadership, it became a murderous doomsday cult that looked forward to an apocalyptic race war. Manson's life was a revolving door of crime and punishment, but the arrest and conviction for his role in masterminding the Tate LaBianca murders was what put him away for good.
Charles Manson, the evil mastermind behind the 1969 murder spree that took the lives of 7 people.
Manson would die in prison in 2017, but the legacy of those crimes remains one of the darkest footnotes in American history.
He leaves behind a legacy of depraved murder.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo.
Alright guys, I will see you in my second video, so let's see you.